improvement. 3. Agroforestry systems. 3.1 classification and overview of agroforestry systems. 3.2 overview of agroforestry system in Nepal and similar agroecozoning in the world. 4. Tree crop interaction. 4.1 factors and types on nature of tree crop interaction. 4.2 quantifying agroforestry product. 5. Soil management and under agroforestry systems. 5.1 approaches of soil water conservation. 5.2 soil fertility management. 6. Designing agroforestry systems. 6.1 conceptual framework on designing agroforestry systems. 6.2 factors affecting agroforestry systems. 7. Project development. ICR जस यहाँ F आछ यो F होइन R हो ICRF diagnosis and design 7.2 diagnostics methods and tools used in agroforestry systems 8 last management of tree in agroforestry systems 8.1 management of tree in agriculture 8.2 agricultural and silvicultural management in relation to crop this over the micro slabs. This is micro slabs of agroforestry and the practical part. First, practical tree selection and identification of agroforestry system and different areas, particularly the hills, high hills, high mountain area, and mid hills and tarai. तीनटा region को हामी tree selection गर्छौं agroforestry को. Number 2, practical practice in contour farming systems. Number 3, preparation A-frame and determine the contour lines. Number 4, layout of soil water conservation systems. 5, nursery management, nursery establishment for exhibit systems. Collection and identification of seeds of agroforestry trees. 5.2, preparation of nursery bed for agroforestry tree. 5.3, seed sowing for agroforestry tree. 6, tree clinic for agroforestry system. 7, training and pruning for agroforestry tree. 8, height and canopy measurement of selected agroforestry tree. 9, different agroforestry system development. Example is a salt and home garden, sloping area agriculture land technology, salt, shortly salt, and home garden. 10, establishment of agroforestry farm at Agriculture and Forestry University. 11, visit to success story of agroforestry project at local levels. These are some references. Reference book, Dugeti, Agroforestry Principles and Practices, Oxford and IVS Publishing Company, Private Limited, India. Chunaut PS and SK Gautam, 1996, Textbook of Agroforestry, Oxford and IVS Publishing Company, Private Limited, India. Singh, SP, 1998, Handbook of Agroforestry, Agrotech Publishing Academy, India. Thapa, Panin, 2001, Nepalese Flora of Agroforestry System, SP, Bhandari Publication, Nepal. Prakash Ram, 1991, Propagation Practices of Input and in Trees, International Book Distribution, India. These are some references book. So besides these books, and you can consult or refer other books very valuable. So this is overall about the theoretical part, practical part, and the reference book belongs this agroforestry. And so I'm starting the first class. This is a first class agroforestry, concept of agroforestry, definition, importance, and scopes. So is it visible? देखिरहेछ सबैलाई?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's start the first chapter, concept of agroforestry, definition, importance, scopes. So overall topics is concept of agroforestry. The concept agroforestry को कृषि वनको अवधारणा के हो र त्यसको परिभाषा र त्यसको महत्व र त्यसको सम्भाव्यता कस्तो छ भन्ने बारेमा. Definition, importance, and scope. First, move into introduction part. What is agroforestry and what do you mean by agroforestry? So some definition and some concept and some conceptual framework on agroforestry. The agroforestry is a new word. Agroforestry, there are the two words, agro and forestry. So the word is combined is agroforestry. So agroforestry is a new word. You have a new word for old practices, for an insane set of practices. एउटा प्र्याक्टिसेस भनेको यो हामीले गर्ने अभ्यास यो गर्ने गरिआएको भनेको त्यही टाइम इमोरियल धेरै धेरै पहिलादेखि प्राचीन कालदेखि नै हामी गर्दै आएका छौँ यसको प्र्याक्टिस तापनि एग्रोफरेस्ट्री भन्ने यो 1980बाट 1980बाट जस्तै 20को शताब्दीबाट यसको अलिकति यसको प्रभाव बढी परेको देखिन्छ त्यो हुनाले एग्रोफरेस्ट्री इज ए न्यू वर्ड फर एन इन्सेट set of practices or simply old practices. भने एग्रोफरेस्ट्री नयाँ कन्सेप्ट हो तर यो प्र्याक्टिस भनेको शताब्दीदेखि प्राचीन कालदेखि गर्दै आएको प्र्याक्टिस हो. It is a intensive farming system in combination of trees or straw with crops or livestock. And it's a combination of farming. This is nothing. It's a farming systems. It's a one kinds of intensive farming systems. That is, I'm telling you the word intensive. Intensive is that's do not avoid the intensive. So intensive is a very dynamic word. So we use grass, livestock very intensively in the particular field to obtain maximum benefit or optimum benefit with a specific land use system in a sustainable basis. There are the four sub-sentence, that is clauses. One is the intensive farming system, agriculture, agroforestry is intensive farming systems. Then what it belongs to is combined. It combines tree and shrubs. दुईटा कुरालाई उसले कम्बाइन गर्छ ट्री और श्रबलाई एउटा त्यसै क्रप एग्रिकल्चर क्रप्स or livestock. तीनटा कुरा, there are the three component. One is tree, the next one is crop, and the third one is livestock. So there are the three component. And to obtain the optimum benefits with a specific land use systems in a sustainable basis. Specific land use system हुन्छ त्यो specific land use system भनेको say hilly area, maybe it might be a hill area in the high mountain area or a plain area or very particular very interior part or very lowland area अथवा highland area maybe त्यो हुन सक्छ र in a sustainable basis भनेको in very in a long run basis, not a short run basis. त्यो long run basis मा यो यसको उद्देश्य हुन्छ. त्यो हुनाले there are the 3-5 हैन. So intensive farming system and it combines tree, crops, agriculture crop and livestock, and for what purposes is optimized to obtain the benefit, maximum optimum benefit in a particular land use systems for a long run basis, for a sustainable basis. That is the particular feature of agroforestry. Agroforestry is an intensive land use systems. So I have told you now in the last slide. Agroforestry is an intensive land management systems that integrates perennial crops, including tree, shrub, palm. These are some perennial crops, and the live and in the long run with the annual agriculture crop and livestock to increase the total production along with economic, social, and environmental benefits. So simply, agroforestry is intentionally designed land use management systems combining trees with crops and livestock, combining trees or shrubs with crops or livestock. Agroforestry presents opportunities for new marketing venture, sustainable climate, smart agriculture, land stewardships, having for livestock, wildlife, improved air and water quality, diversified farm income, and increased wealth for rural community. Okay. Rural communities. Agroforestry has recognized as land use management system, land use systems which is capable for yielding both wood and food, at the same time conserving and rehabilitating the soil and whole ecosystems. यो एक किसिमको ल्यान्ड युज म्यानेजमेन्ट सिस्टम हो र त्यसले वुड एन्ड फुडको लागि यसले काम गर्छ र त्यसपछि ल्यान्ड युज म्यानेजमेन्टमा ल्यान्डलाई कन्जर्भ गर्छ र होल इकोसिस्टम यसले कन्जर्भ गर्छ भन्ने हो the intensive land use management that optimize the benefit physical, biological, ecological, economic, social. These are the sustainable some component physical, biological, ecological, economical, social. These are the component of sustainability. So this phenomena belongs to sustainability and agroforestry concern on the sustainability. So it is a land intensive land use management system that optimize the benefits of sustainability from biophysical interactions created when the trees or shrubs are deliberately combined with crops or livestock or crop and livestock. So this is the picture belonging to agroforestry. And this is the general picture of forests and agriculture uh, systems, agriculture figure in Nepal. The forest is a 40% covered, 40%. Other wooded land 4%, grassland 12%, agricultural land 21%, non-cultivated inclusion 6%, and the water streams and river beds 2%, urban and industrial area is 15%, and total यो 100%मा यो क्याटेगोरिज गरिएको छ यसरी फरेस्ट टोटल हामीले फरेस्ट 40% छ एग्रिकल्चरलाई 21% छ यसलाई हामीले बेसिकली वी कन्सर्न on the forest and agricultural land. Agricultural land, total agricultural land of Nepal is 21%, and the forest land is 40%. And this is the subject of agroforestry. So it belongs to the agricultural land and forest land. So basically, the some component, some practices belongs to agricultural land, and some practices belong to a forest land, and the sometimes combined of those. This is a general picture of agroforestry. This I have told you that the three component. One is a tree, the next one is crops, and the third one is livestock. So it combines. So it crops and livestock combined that there is 100%, and it can be a trees or crops like sometimes 100%, and sometimes crop mixed farming, livestock 100%, sometimes tree livestock, the agro silvopastoral systems is 100%. This is a combination of trees, crops, and livestock. So now come into definitions. Some actually we have a define in the first introductory part, the way the concepts of the agroforestry and the introduction of the agroforestry. And here is a definition of agroforestry. Some others, some writer defined the different way of agroforestry. So there are the different various ways of definition. So moving to definition, then efficient and integrated land use management systems, agroforestry is an efficient and integrated land use management systems by raising of certain agricultural crops, forestry species, and or animals at the simultaneously on the same unit of land with appropriate management practices, which results in overall increase in the production under a set of particular climate, edaphic, and socio-cultural condition. Climatic, edaphic, and socio-cultural condition. Your condition now, climatic, the agroforestry is a agroforestry respect to culture, agroforestry respect to climate, agroforestry respect to the particular edaphic environment. So it respect the climatic, edaphic, and socio-cultural environment. So agroforestry is efficient and integrated land use management systems. But by raising the crops and tree species and animals simultaneously or is a combination pattern on the same unit of land with appropriate management practices and overall to increase the optimum benefit. You know, benefit on set of particular climatic, edaphic, and socio-cultural condition. This is the overall definition. And agroforestry is another definition is agroforestry includes both the integration of trees and trees on farmland and use of agricultural crops and livestock in woodlands. This defined by SAL in 2009. ACRF, International Council, International Center uh, for Research on Agroforestry, ICRF in 1996 defines it as it is a collective name for land use systems and practices in which woody perennials are deliberately integrated with the crop and animals on the same unit of land. भनेको एउटै ल्यान्डमा पनि एग्रिकल्चर र पेरेनियल क्रप्सहरू एग्रिकल्चर क्रपहरू दुईटाको कम्बिनेसन हुन्छ कलेक्टिभ ल्यान्ड युज सिस्टममा हुन्छ र इन्टिग्रेटेड अप्रोचमा हुन्छ यो आइसिआरएफले डिफाइन गरेको छ it harnessed the benefit of practices that would be a major spare of the rural social economic changes factors to the future direction. Agroforestry is a collective name for its land use system and technologies where woody perennials, that means the trees, shrubs, palm, bamboos, etc., are deliberately used on the same unit of land and the same land management units as agricultural crops and animals in some form of the spatial the arrangement or temporal sequences. That means, do you know the spatial arrangement and temporal sequence? So that is we come into later, but the very simply spatial means the spacing, the ठाउँको अनुसार हो the ठाउँलाई राखेर ठाउँलाई म्यानेज गरेर टेम्पोरल भनेको टाइमलाई म्यानेज गरेर that's the sequence order. Agroforestry refers to the any of the broader range of the land use practices where pasture or crop are integrated with the tree and shrubs. That's defined by Wiki 2023. Agroforestry is a land use systems where agriculture and forestry disciplines are combined to provide the multiple product, food, timber, fodder, use, fuel wood, and leaf litter, medicine. There's so many products we gain from the agroforestry product that is a multiple product, multiple trade related to the agriculture and the forestry in a given space and time. That is Amartya 2018. Agroforestry is a relatively new name for a set of land use practices. Many definitions have been proposed worldwide. However, it has now become an accepted land use system. Some of the definition, other definition also. The plan defined agroforestry is a sustainable management system for land use, increases overall production, combine the agricultural crops, forest, land, plant and tree crops and animals simultaneously or sequentially and applies management practices that are compatible with the cultural practice of the local population. King and Chandlerले 1978 got defined गरेको छ agroforestry is a sustainable land use management system which increase the overall yield of the land, combine the production of the crops, including tree crops and forest plant and animals simultaneously or sequentially. The same unit of land and applies management practices that are kept compatible with the cultural practices of the local population. And the name 1979 is the main writer of the book Agroforestry is the name 1979 defines agroforestry as a land use system that integrates the trees, crops, and animals in a way that it is scientifically sound, ecologically desirable, practicably feasible, and socially acceptable to the farmers. According to Land Green and Rentry, another writer of Agroforestry 1982. Agroforestry is a collective name for land use systems and technology, where the woody perennials that may be a tree, shrubs, palm, bamboo, etc., are deliberately used in the same piece of land management units as agricultural crops and animals in the same form of the spatial arrangement or temporal arrangement. So now these are the overall definition. This defined by different writers. So there is a other aspect. But now history. The history of agroforestry is very old. It has been said to be initiated when the main beings learned the art of the domesticating plant. यो हामीले जब डोमेस्टिकेटिङ एग्रिकल्चरलाई क्रपलाई हामी डोमेस्टिकेसन गरेका छौँ र त्यो डोमेस्टिकेसन गरेसँगै यसको हिस्ट्री सुरु हुन्छ द प्लान्ट एन्ड एनिमल्स इन अबाउट 7,000 बिफोर क्राइस्ट sorry. So during the way 1993 mentioned that some stray the references occurs in different texts of the Vedic literature of Hindus valley civilization preyed on the origin of agroforestry. For example, the cultivation of the date palm, the banana and pomegranate, the coconut, jujube, and amla, bell, lemon, is so many the fruit crops and many other fruit trees and a requirement of Texas livestock in agriculture and cattle breeding may be traced in prehistoric era. Prehistoric एरामा वैदिक एरामा यो सुरुवात भएको पाइएको छ भनेर देखाइएको छ. First modern use of agroforestry can be traced back on the Tanga systems employed in the teak Tectona grandis plantation in Burma at the end of the 19th century. 19औं शताब्दीको 19औं शताब्दीमा टाङ्गिया सिस्टम यो बराबरमा सुरु भएको पाएको छ हैन त्यसपछि नेपाल टाङ्गिया system was introduced in Burma Bara in Bara district of Tarai and Tamagadi is now we can particularly Tamagadi in Bara districts Barako Tamagadi ma टाङ्गिया system लाई introduce गरेको 75 मा 2075 के रे 75 मा के रे 75 मा यो 1975 2038 साल यो तामागढी 12 मा सुरुवात गरेको पाइन्छ. The term agroforestry was coined in the late 1970 reflecting a significant change in agricultural development. However, the first formal recognition of agroforestry as field of study separate from the agriculture of forestry acquired in 1977 with the establishment of the International Council for Research Agroforestry, International Council for Research in Agroforestry or on Agroforestry, ICRF, the now also known as the World Agroforestry Center based in the Nairobi, Kenya. केन्यामा अहिले यो तपाईहरुको एग्रोफोरेस्ट्रीको ओल्डको एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री सेन्टर कहाँ छ जस्तो अहिले वाक भनेर भन्छौं पहिला आईसीआरएफ भनेर भनिन्थ्यो यो यसको कहाँ छ अफिस भन्दाखेरि नैरोबी केन्याको नैरोबीमा छ कहिलेकाहीँ तपाईको भाइभामा आउन सक्छ. Agroforestry was formally outlined in the early 20th century by American economist geographical Russell Smith in book Tree Crops of Farming Agriculture 1929. Agroforestry is formally outlined in 20th century मा यसको formally यसको अलिकति रेखांकन इट्स फ्रेमिङ भएको पाइन्छ. The Smith viewed tree-based permanent agriculture as a solution to the destructive erosion that often followed the cultivation of sloping lands. However, in his contribution were largely overlooked during the Green Revolution of 1960 and the subsequent and more inclusive farming systems. Research, extension, development approach of the early 1970s and that sought sustainable agricultural alternatives. Those individuals failed to address any basic needs of the small-scale resource-limited farmers in the tropics, such as the essential timber and non-timber product derived from the trees, including food, fuel, fodder, the building materials, medicine, and income, as well as ecosystem sustainability that tree maintains. यो केही फरेस्ट एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री प्रोडक्टको बारेमा केही नीड पिपलको नीडको बारेमा यसले सम्बोधन गरेन अनि त्यसपछि त्यसले लगत्तै 1997 In 1997, the Canadian International Development Research Center released a report called Trees, Food and People, the part of the project for identification of tropical forest research priorities, describing the critical role of tree in sustainable agriculture production in the tropics. त्यसपछि now concept. It is a new concept of मैले अघि नै भनिहालेँ. I have told you it is a new concept. Agroforestry term, agroforestry system is a new concept, but it is old practices that combines two familiar word, the agro plus forestry. That means agroforestry, agro plus forestry, and though it brings the all the agricultural practices as well as all the forestry practices, and it combines and yet to obtain the maximization of the benefit, meaning mixing of the agricultural crops with a forest crops. That is agroforestry. More than simply agriculture of the trees, agroforestry is an agroecological approach that involves farmers, livestock, tree, and forests at multiple scales, including tree on farms, farming in forests, and at forest margin and tree crop production. There are the three component. One is the agriculture crops. The next one is forest crops. The next is livestock. So there are the three components, but it combines the three, and at least two. It leverages the ability of tree to store carbon, draw water, and nutrient from soil, shelter the biodiversity, build soil organic matter, and carbon, and climate record climate history. Since the term agroforestry was coined in late 1970, Kaili school agroforestry, I have told in the history of agroforestry, and in 90 यो खास गरेर यो टर्मिनोलोजी एग्रोफरेस्ट्री भनेको टर्म यो शब्द 1970 बाट यसको विकास भएको पाइन्छ भनेको मैले हिस्ट्रीमा भनिसकेँ. I have told you history part, and so since the term agroforestry was coined in late 1970 1970 को दशकको अन्त्यतिर यो सुरुवात भएको पाइन्छ. To describe the work of agroforestry, world agroforestry, the concept was evolved greatly. The ICRF play International Center of Research on Research of Agroforestry, research on agroforestry, जो ओल्ड एग्रोफरेस्ट्री भनेर भन्छौँ, वाक भनेर भन्छौँ, ओल्ड एग्रोफरेस्ट्री इज ले यो कोइन गरेको पाइन्छ. The modern concept of agroforestry emerged in the early 20th century. The use of woody perennial in agricultural system in insect, with written description of the practice dating back to Roman times. Indeed, indicating trees with crops and animals is a long-standing tradition throughout the world. In 2004, the World Bank estimated that agroforestry practices were being used by 1.2 billion people. करिब 1.2 अरब व्यक्तिहरूले यो एग्रोफरेस्ट्री प्र्याक्टिस गरेको पाइन्छ भनेर उल्लेख गरेको पाइन्छ. Let's continue. The agroforestry is an age-old practices that have long tradition of growing a fruit crops, trees, animal together for producing multiple range of products. The scientific principle of agroforestry belongs to the farmers to have a long tradition of growing fruit crops, trees, and animals together for producing multiple range of products. धेरै किसिमका एउटा मात्र हुँदैन यस्तै प्रोडक्टहरु एग्रोफरेस्ट प्रोडक्ट. There might be the tree, that might be animals and agricultural crops, multiple range of product we can find. And the more recently, however, the forest area has receded means there is shrinkage, very खुम्चिएको पाइन्छ. The more recently, however, the forest area has very receded and the resource have shrunk the considerably. हैन, forest area खुम्चिँदै गएको छ, कम नाश हुँदै गएको छ, लस हुँदै गएको छ, रिसोर्सेसहरु पनि कम हुँदै गएको छ, लिमिटेसन कम हुँदै गएका छन्. The people are no longer able to meet their requirement to firewood, fodder, time, timber, and bamboo, etc. for the forest. जस्तो पिपलको पपुलेसन बढ्दै गएको छ र अर्कोतिर फरेस्ट एरिया हाम्रो रिसोर्सहरू कम हुँदै गएको छ. त्यो दुईटालाई हामीले मिलाउनुको लागि हामीले एग्रोफरेस्ट्री आवश्यक पर्छ. ड्यू टु द इन्क्रिजिङ पपुलेसन डिमान्ड of forest product increasing day by day and a shortage of the raw material to the industries. So agroforestry practice is very inevitably very important, and many farmers quite recently started the planting trees on their farmland and meet their shortage. This along with the agriculture crops, thus from the concept of agroforestry emerges out. यही भएर यो फरेस्टको कन्सेप्ट इमर्ज आउट भएको पाइन्छ. अब यसको की क्यारेक्टर्स के हो, मुख्य क्यारेक्टर्सहरू के छन्? एग्रोफरेस्ट्री नर्मली इन्भल्भ टु अर मोर स्पेसिस अफ ल्यान्ड. एउटा स्पेसिसमा त दुई तीनवटा स्पेसिसहरू हुन्छ त्यहाँ हैन. एग्रोफरेस्ट्री एटलिस्ट टु स्पेसिसहरूको कम्बिनेसन हुन्छ. प्लान्ट अर एनिमल्स, प्लान्ट अर फरेस्ट अर एनिमल्स अर पास्चर. एटलिस्ट वान अफ दिस इज वुडी हैन. एटलिस्ट के हुन्छ, एउटा वुडी प्लान्ट त्यहाँ हुन्छ एग्रोफरेस्ट्री भन्ने बित्तिकै. एन एग्रोफरेस्ट्री सिस्टम अलवेज हैज अ मल्टिपल आउटपुट. अहिले आउटपुट के हुन्छ, मल्टिपल दिन्छ. द्याट माइट बी अ प्रोटेक्सन अर प्रोडक्सन हैन, मल्टिपल आउट. साइकल अफ द एग्रोफरेस्ट्री सिस्टम इज अलवेज मोर देन 1 year. 1 year भन्दा बढी हुन्छ. पेरेनियल क्रपहरू भएको हुनाले साइकल यसको मोर देन 1 year हुन्छ. This is very important and maintains complex interaction among the components suited to particular environment and human needs. Positive and negative interaction might be seen and exhibited among the component tree or crops. Even the simplest agroforestry system is more complex ecologically and economically than the monocropping systems. Monocropping system भन्दा यो यसको के हुन्छ, इन्भाइरोमेन्ट अलिकति कम्प्लेक्स टाइप हुन्छ. It gives emphasis on the use of multiple indigenous trees and shrubs. It is particularly suitable for low input condition and fragile environment. Low input condition, यसको इनपुट कन्डिसन लो हुन्छ र फ्रेजाइल इन्भाइरोमेन्टमा हुन्छ. र इन्डिजिनियस क्रपलाई यसले के हुन्छ, रेस्पेक्ट गर्छ. इन्डिजिनियस क्रपहरूलाई यसले कन्जर्भ गर्छ. It involves the interplay of sociocultural values more than in most other land use systems. अरू ल्यान्ड युज सिस्टम भन्दा यो ल्यान्ड युज एग्रोफरेस्ट्री ल्यान्ड युज सिस्टममा यसले के गर्छ, बढी यसले के भन्छ, सोसियो कल्चरलाई भ्यालु दिन्छ. This is the agroforestry system, agriculture, forestry, animal, pasture. So some essence criteria attributes of agroforestry. So there are the three attributes belongs it. There are the three attributes. It says that there are the three essences are the three criteria of agroforestry: the productivity first, then sustainability, and third one is adaptability. Productivity means the agroforestry system aims to maintain to increase the production of agroforestry system. Agroforestry can improve the productivity in many different ways. This includes the increased output of the product, improved yield of associated crop, the reduction of the cropping system input, and increase the labor efficiency. यसले लेबर इफिसियन्सीलाई पनि बढाउँछ र क्रपको प्रोडक्सनलाई पनि बढाउने हुनाले यसको प्रोडक्टिभिटीलाई मुख्य इसेन्स हो. यसको एट्रिब्युट, मुख्य गुण भनेको एग्रोफरेस्ट्रीको प्रोडक्टिभिटी हो. The next attribute is sustainability. By conserving the production potential of the resource base, mainly through the beneficial effect of wood perennial on soil, agroforestry can achieve and indefinitely maintain the conservation and fertility goals. यसले कन्जर्भेसन गर्छ पेरेनियल क्रप्सहरुको, इन्डिजिनियस क्रपको एन्ड त्यसपछि फर्टिलिटी पनि यसले कायम गर्ने हुनाले, कन्जर्भ गर्ने हुनाले सस्टेनेबिलिटी इज ए नेक्स्ट एट्रिब्युट्स. And third attribute is adaptability. That is not adaptability, it is adaptability. The word adapt here means the descent, and it may be distinguished from another commonly used word adapt. And adapt अलि फरक छ. The implies modify or change. The fact that agroforestry is a relatively new word for an old set of practices means that in some cases, agroforestry was already been accepted by the farming community. Farming community ले के गर्छ, यसलाई एक्सेप्ट गरेको हुन्छ. त्यो हुनाले एक्सेप्ट गरेकोलाई एडप्ट गरेको हुन्छ. However, the implication here is that improved of new agroforest technology that are introduced into new areas and it should also conform to local farming. विशेष नयाँ एरियामा पनि एग्रोफरेस्ट्री प्र्याक्टिसको टेक्नोलोजी प्रविधिहरूलाई हामीले विकास गर्ने हो भने त्यसलाई अडप्ट गर्ने हो र त्यो हुनाले अडप्टेबिलिटी इज अ नेक्स्ट एट्रिब्युट अफ एग्रोफरेस्ट्री. Now, importance of agroforestry. So the first importance is food and nutrition security, just a productive use. And planting trees in agricultural land can use help in increasing food production and boost the food security. Moreover, agroforestry help in health and nutrition improvement due to increased diversified and quality food product. हामीले agroforestry system भन्ने बित्तिकै food and fiber को लागि nutrition को लागि यसले धेरै इम्पोर्टेन्स छ. The tree planting, a part of agroforestry, can be used as source of fuel, food, and non-wood product that can be consumed or sold, resulting in traditional food and security. General tree can provide the nutritional food, nuts, and leaves for consumption in household. In addition to food product, agroforestry also supports the production of a wide range of products such as timber, fiber, fodder, forest, craft product, medicinal product, aging materials, and gums and resin, among the others. So these all products, agroforestry product, help in and to boost the food and nutritional security and to enhance the livelihood part of the people, particular people. Second importance is improves income and livelihood with the economic value. The the agroforestry product are worthy, noticeably the high value and sometimes pays high prices than the other product. So it conserves the economic indigenous crops. So sometimes the indigenous crop fetches a higher price than other uh, agriculture product. Small and resource poor farmers are more benefited to boost their household income by selling the one product. Black pepper, for example, is a black pepper is in Erica nut farming, uh, fruit and vegetable farming, medicinal plant and fruit farming, pasture and animal husbandry are some example of higher income sources. Agroforestry is a practical and a low-cost means of implementing the many forms of integrated and management, and it contributes to a green economy, to promoting the long-term sustainable and renewable forest management, especially for small-scale producers. Is as such, improved and sustainable productivity leads to increase in level of farm income. Employment and next importance. So agroforestry product provides job and employment opportunity to the people living in the region, and the planting of tree, the process of harvesting, protect from the tree, the growth of the crops, and the management of the animal product component all require skilled labor, which is always present and knows the proper knowledge to carry out the required responsibility. Farmers may benefit from this a lot, and others may even choose to migrate to such a region where the agroforestry is the norm to get the benefit. The people who were once jobless can work in the part and provide the support for their family and be able to live more sustainable lifestyles. Next importance is protective value. This is protective use, the agroforestry systems to protect the adverse climatic conditions. The trees also helps to protect the crops from the strong winds and soil erosion, which may damage the crops. Planting trees as a part of the agroforestry practices can be beneficial for growth and survival of human and animal and crops. Trees can block the strong winds, the protecting crops from the damage. Some crops like barley, alpha, and winter wheat are also known to thrive under shelters. The shelter छहारी पनि दिन्छ. It provides the shelter. That's said. Combining proper tree species and responsive crops can lead to improve the yield. Tree also protect the animal from the wind, still in whole days, while also providing the shade on hot days and thus helping lower animal trees. Trees helping being the grown in the region act as safeguard for the animal living there and also protect the crops from various natural disasters. The root of the trees act as anchor for the soil, protecting it from the soil erosion. It can be a pretty difficult problem to solve, however, as there are the tree in the region, the soil and its fertility is protected from the being harmed. So these are the some these are the some protective values, protective it agroforestry. protects the winds to the trees, and so disasters to the tree, disaster condition from disaster condition. Creation of resilient livelihood. Livelihood पनि promote गर्छ. So it being a is a productive and protective use. Growing a tree together with the crops and animals can reduce the vulnerability associated with agriculture production and even improve the recovery after natural disaster. The natural disaster hazards on socioeconomic downturns. यिनीहरू सबैलाई आर्थिक अवस्था कमजोर हुने र विभिन्न खालको प्राकृतिक विपदहरू आउने यिनीहरू छ भने पनि यिनीहरूबाट यसले जोगाउँछ, रिकभर गर्छ. सो हुनाले लाइभलीहुडलाई यसले रेजिलिएन्ट लाइभलीहुड भन्छ. Agroforestry economics, for example, helps to increase the diversity of production within the ecosystem, thereby reducing the risk of economic failure. हामीले यसले के गर्छ, एउटा मात्र सिस्टमलाई अपनाउँदैन, यसले डाइभर्सिफाइड सिस्टमलाई अपनाउने भएको हुनाले के हुनाले इकोनोमिक फेलर हुनलाई पनि यसले बचाउँछ. The roots of the tree can strengthen the soil structure, mitigating the soil erosion and improving the soil fertility and preventing the possible landslide. हामीले यसले रुटले स्ट्रगल खास गरी एङ्करिङ गर्ने हुनाले यसले सोइल इरोजनबाट पनि रोक्छ र सोइल फर्टिलिटीलाई यसले जोगाउँछ र प्रिभेन्टिङ सोइल ल्यान्डस्लाइड हुनबाट पनि पहिरो जानबाट पनि यसले कम गर्छ. Furthermore, this can help to prevent diversity, desertification, and social, cultural, and environmental consequences. Environmental value, climate change mitigation and adaptation. Careful planning and education of agroforestry can help to protect the natural in the environment. For example, growing the trees can help to improve the quality of water and its quality by filtering the capturing the water resources. यसले एकदम राम्रो क्लीन वाटरहरू यसले दिन्छ. The growing in trees in agriculture system can reduce the impact of climate change on agriculture. Sourcing tree product from the tree grown on farms reduces the need to cut trees and hence reduce the rate of deforestation. हामीले वन विनाश हुनबाट यसले जोगाउँछ. ट्रिज एन्ड एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री सिस्टम therefore help to mitigate the climate change through the carbon sequestration. कार्बनलाई हामीले क्याप्चर गर्छ, यसले सिक्वेस्ट्रेसन कार्बनलाई यसले क्याप्चर गर्छ, त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यसले कार्बन सिक्वेस्ट्रेसनको कुराहरू गर्छ. फर्दर एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री plays a critical role in improving the climate condition and the weather patterns by modifying microclimatic conditions such as the temperature and the water vapor content of the air and wind speed, resulting in the beneficial effect on the growth, crop growth, and animal welfare. This is general can limit the effect of the climate change and global warming in agriculture, and it can help in regulating the air quality and water concentration. Agroforestry helps to stabilize the weather and climate of the region, which affect the growth of the crops. And agroforestry systems help in carbon sequestration. Plant absorb the carbon dioxide and simply oxygen supply the oxygen in the process of photosynthesis, reduce the pollutant on the soil, water, and reduce the sound pollution, reduce the pollution, and make the clean environment. Next importance is reserve the local culture and the cultural, to respect the cultural value. The agroforestry is designed in help to local communities and cultural tribes. With the help of the agroforestry specialists, indigenous peoples and local community can continue with the local benefit, lives, and culture, which ensuring the long-term sustainability of the traditional systems. Furthermore, by preserving the indigenous working technology and species, agroforestry also helps to protect the mankind's agricultural heritage. एक किसिमको agroforestry is a agricultural heritage हो. यसलाई हेरिटेजलाई पनि बचाइराख्छ. It is also worth noting that agroforestry can lead to decent and rural livelihood, cultural diversity, and maintain the local spiritual benefit. Agroforestry helps in the stabilization and improvement of local community by eliminating the need to move side from farm activities, reserve the local knowledge, skill, and technology. Industrial development, there are the various medicine and herbal medicine that can be extracted from the tree, from planted the trees, and also they can use to manufacture medicine to cheap, thereby allowing the provision for crops to move by food. So industry development by support to supply the medicinal plant. The fruits, nuts, herbal products are the sources of the food, and herbal companies that supports industry by supplying the product. In addition, the production of some plantation and cash crop like a rubber plant, erica, tea, coffee, coconut, black pepper, large cardamom, ginger, turmeric, etc., can also use a raw material for industrial. So industry processing like biodiversity conservation. The environmentally is a biodiversity system is typically higher than the conventional agriculture system. To a more intact plant species given area, in a more complex habitat, then that support the wider variety of fauna. हामीले फ्लोरा एन्ड फाउना दुईटाको लागि यो एउटा के हुन्छ किसिमको habitat बन्न सक्छ. The agroforestry is a potent biodiversity for different region. It provides more diverse habitat than the conventional agriculture system, in which that the tree component create the ecological niche. The full wide range of the organisms, both the above and below the ground levels. The life cycles and the food chains associated with this diversification initiate an agroecological succession that creates the functional ecosystem that for the society. अब यो बाँकी तपाईँहरूले पढ्नु खासै बायोडाइभर्सिटी कन्जर्भेसनको कुरा हो. So building improvement, natural gene bank, खास गरेर यो एउटा जिन ब्याङ्क पनि हो. Agroforestry farming system is considered as a national hub for gene bank. Agroforestry conserves the valuable and indigenous agriculture forests and forest species. Precisely, crop and breed can be improved by conserving native and extended species. The crop species and breed can be used to improve the genetic makeup, to develop the improved and hybrid. Aesthetic value, the ornamental value, the agroforestry is a form of integration of cultivation and culture and crop, livestock creates the ornamental value to particular place and attractive visitors. So agroforestry is a create the agrotourism values. So types of crops, animals makes the palace more pleasant and showy. So agrotourism, the agriculture, many tourists are domestic as well as foreign tourists come and see the agroforestry places. Utilization of fallow land, marginal land. हामीले नेपाल त कभरेज ल्यान्ड फ्यालो धेरै छ. यो फ्यालो ल्यान्ड पनि एउटा इम्पोर्टेन्स हो र स्कोप पनि हो, दुईटै छ. त्यो हुनाले स्कोप, खास गरेर स्कोप अफ एग्रोफरेस्ट्री. स्कोप के छ भने अभाइलेबिलिटी अफ रिसोर्सेस, नेचुरल हामीले सो मेनी नेचुरल, सोशल एन्ड फिजिकल एन्ड फाइनेन्सियल रिसोर्सेस are available in the country. So first scope के छ एग्रोफरेस्ट्रीको भन्दाखेरि यसको स्कोप भन्ने बित्तिकै हामीले फ्युचर पोटेन्सियलिटी अनि भविष्यमा के छ त यसको सम्भावना भन्ने कुरा हो. र खास गरेर हामीले नेचुरल, सोशल, ह्युमन, फिजिकल, फाइनेन्सियल रिसोर्सेस, देयर आर द 5 पेन्टागन भनेर छ. समटाइम वी क्यान से द पेन्टागन, एन्ड पेन्टागन भनेपछि देयर आर द 5 रिसोर्सेस. I know we have 5 resources, so the agroforestry system conserves the 5 resources, and so there is a potentiality of agroforestry in the future. The suitable climate or climate very suitable, sir. The climate crop and animals can be raised according to suitability of climate. Diverse climate is a boon to the nation. The boost different crops and livestock. A diverse physiogeographical situations, try to mountain areas with your trico agroforestry system, middle agroforestry system, and high mountain agroforestry system we can develop. The high market demand, market development and product diversification is high. High market demand like demand high bakuna niche product or high value crop ko high value fruit or demand bazarma badi cha. Tyo hunale pani agroforestry ko sambhavana badi cha. Government support and emphasize or in on the other hand, government as a central government and federal government and the federal government and the local government each government has emphasized on agroforestry systems. So agroforestry is supported by external environment in the condition policy and regulation made by the government. Each government level has developed its policy, their policy and their regulation to develop the agroforestry systems in each level of government. Expand education, increase level of awareness, study and research on agroforestry at college and university levels. And now, and so last 10 decades, different university and colleges has developed its curricula and has started the started the education teaching in various levels in UG and PG levels. So national and international market linkage, treaties and collaboration, the government developed and made different treaties and different linkages and different within the India and China and the third countries, and so that the agroforestry product can exchange, can export to the other markets, other countries as a market niche product. High-tech introduction and adoption. we have various technologies now introduced in Nepal as we can imply, we can use those technologies, new and innovative technologies in agroforestry systems. So availability of introduction and availability of new technology, innovative technology, the agroforestry system will be will be more innovative and more attractive. So the introduction of high tech and adoption ratio is a high adoption ratio, and the scope of agroforestry is seen very bright. This overall scope of the agroforestry, and agroforestry is enterprise, I know. So this is all today. So, any question? के छ प्रश्न प्रश्न के छ सबै सेक्सनलाई तपाईँहरूको जिज्ञासा प्रश्न any queries, any question, please ask. के छ भने सोध्नुहोस् र एटेन्डेन्स तपाईँहरूको त्यो फर्मेटमा राम सरले पठाउनु भएको छ हो राम सर यही हुनुहुन्छ रामकुमार सर हुनुहुन्न क्या लिभ गर्नु होला एटेन्डेन्स के छ कसरी लिने गरेको छ एटेन्डेन्स भन्नु त
एटेन्डेन्स हिजो बेलुकी नै लिनुभएको थियो सर
हजुर
हिजो बेलुकी नै लिनुभएको थियो सरले रामकुमार सरले
हो र म सोधिहाल्छु है रामकुमार सरलाई म चाहिँ रामकुमार कुमार सरलाई मैले सोधिहालेँ है त नोट बनाउनुहोस् तपाईँ नोटहरू गर्नु होला है नोट यो तपाईँले कतिपय फोटो खिच्नुभयो होला हैन खिच्नुभयो फोटो स्क्रिनसट लिनुभयो